Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Wednesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Wednesday. Folks, today is going to be today's going to be a short day. Let me make sure I got everything going here. Perfect. How's everybody doing? Let me just take 1 second. Let me just take 1 second to lower the fan back there, and I think we should be good to go. All right. Perfect. It looks like we're good to go. Um we definitely have quite a gauntlet to run through, so I'll try to do as much of these articles within the time constraints that we have. So let me go ahead and get started. All right. First up, global heating has caused shocking changes in the forest across the Americas. Hey, Lee Spanner, how's it going? How am I? I'm hanging in there. Forests from the Arctic to the Amazon are transforming at a shocking rate due to the climate crisis, with trees advancing into previously barren tundras in the north while dying off from escalating heat further south. Who would have thunk? Global heating, along with changes in soils, wind, and available nutrients, is rapidly changing the composition of forests, making them far less resilient and prone to disease, according to a series of studies that have analyzed the health of trees in the North and South America. Many areas of forests are now becoming more susceptible to ferocious wildfires, causing the release of further greenhouse gases from the vast carbon stores that heat the planet even more. It's like humans have lit a match, and now we're seeing the result of that. Yeah, that's a pretty good that's a pretty good analogy. It says Roman Dial, a biologist at Alaska Pacific University. Dial and his colleagues have discovered that a patch of white spruce trees in northwest Alaska have hopped north onto an area of the Arctic tundra that hasn't had such trees in a millennia. Jeez. The scientist's new research paper, published in Nature, estimates the spruce are advancing north at a rate of around 4 kilometers a decade, aided by warming temperatures and changes to snow and wind pattern influenced by shrinkage of sea ice in the region. It was shocking to see the trees there. No one knew about them, but they were young and growing fast, said Dial, who first spotted the shadows of the trees on satellite imagery and then took a single-engine plane journey, followed by a 5-day hike to find and study the advancing forest. The trees basically hopped over the mountains into the tundra. Going by climate models, this wasn't supposed to happen for 100 years or more. Yikes. So that should kind of explain the severity of the situation, where, I mean, this kind of has been a consistent theme throughout this, where We're having 100-year events happen frequently and way ahead of schedule. Um, we're having like things that aren't supposed to happen for hundreds of years, sometimes thousands of years, happen in a much quicker pace and not giving, time to adapt, not giving the ability, the time necessary to adapt and evolve, essentially. And it's causing a lot of domino effects, including extinctions of species and things like this. Farther south, separate research has found the transformation is underway at the boundary between boreal and temperate forests, with species of spruce and fir increasingly unable to cope with the hotter conditions. Scientists estimate that even small amounts of further heating caused by human activity could cause up to a 50% die-off of traditional boreal forests in certain places, with many other trees becoming stunted in their growth. Boreal species do very poorly even with modest warming. They grow more slowly and have greater mortality, said Peter Reich, a researcher at the University of Minnesota who co-authored the research. Intuitively, I thought they would do slightly worse with a 1.5 degrees Celsius of warming, but they do much, much worse, which is worrisome. Reich and his colleagues spent 5 years raising 9 different tree species from seedlings under different conditions in North Minnesota, subjecting them to different amounts of heat and water. The boreal species were found to have suffered when soils dried out due to heat, while other temperate species such as oak and maple were able to cope better and may be able to slowly shift into boreal zone as the world warms further. Given how fast climate change is, we could get a 50 to 100-year period where spruce and fir over thousands of miles, including Siberia to Scandinavia, don't regenerate. So you have this strange new system of invasive shrubs that won't provide us with the economic and ecological services we are used to. Yeah, that might be a problem. The impact of the climate crisis, and I believe like this is something that we touched on um, with the Beckosphere. That, well, the folks that think that this isn't an economic thing, it is. It is. The impact of the climate crisis is also being felt in the heart of the Amazon, a further study has underlined. Scientists have raised concern that the huge rainforest ecosystem is in danger and dipping into a new altered state, eventually becoming a savanna. And the new research found that the lack of phosphorus in Amazon soil could have major implications for its resilience to global heating. Nice. It is incredible that folks can watch this and read about this and still say that this isn't a problem. The rainfall in Europe, your notifications come well after your start. Yeah, sometimes they do. I don't know how the Twitch notifications go, to be quite frank. The rainfall in Europe has dropped so much that ships are not able to navigate the Rhine River. Yeah. And wildfires in Portugal are the worst ever. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. Not surprising at all. Yeah, for some reason, all these chats aren't showing up here. We have already crossed the tipping point with all these exceptional conditions. It seems like that is closer to the truth than ever. I mean, we can safely say that we have crossed certain thresholds, and that certain things are all but certain. It's certain catastrophic events are all but certain, right? We've locked ourselves in to X amount of catastrophe, essentially, um, for lack of a better way of putting it. Yeah, for some reason, like the chat in Restream is not working. Well, let me see if I can see it. Oh no, I see you. I just don't know why it's not showing up in the other application, I guess. That's okay. We'll put chat over here. Okay. Anyways, TLDR, not good. Not good at all. Not good at all, and the situation is dire. I'm glad that you're doing a climate feature. Yeah, I try to integrate as much of it as possible, where possible. I like pie. What insane news are we covering today? Echo Wrestle Dragon, welcome everybody. Well, in terms of the forests and whatnot, we're pretty borked on this whole climate thing. Just to give you a TLDR, global heating has caused shocking changes in forests across the Americas. We're having boreal trees not being able to adapt to warming temperatures. We're seeing trees crossing over to places that normally they wouldn't be in. Trees crossing over into the Arctic tundra that hasn't seen trees, these type of trees, in a millennia, in 100 years. Your notification just landed? What? Yikes. Echo Wrestle Dragon, how's it going? Yeah, I don't know why sometimes like notifications will be super delayed. The one notification that I know that it's like always guaranteed to do it like instantly is the it's the Discord one, but I don't think it did it. I don't even think it did the oh yeah, it did. Yeah, the Discord notification is like the most immediate way to know, for sure. Sometimes, like, Twitch and YouTube go live things aren't 100%. And also, I'm noticing that my restream isn't really working that well. Um, so maybe that has something to do with it. I have no idea. I have to find you by my clock, not the notification. Yeah, I mean the worst case scenario, you know that at 5 p.m. Eastern is the this is the time and place, you know? It's just weird. I don't know. Twitch is like that. It's either Twitch that has super delayed notifications or it's restream or it's the actual streaming like little setup. Cuz like right now I'm not even seeing on the restream side, I'm not even seeing chat. I have to go to the actual Twitch to see you guys. I get your Discord notifications about 6 hours after your stream ends. Nice, much better. Much better. Uh much better. Jesus. Anyways, to catch everybody up, um the trees basically hopped over mountains and into the tundra going by climate models. This wasn't supposed to happen for 100 years or more, and yet it's happening now. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that that is what embodies the sentiment in this article. Um, it's not good, folks. Not good. All right, let's talk about this one. A Nebraska woman is charged with helping her daughter have an abortion. Ah. A Nebraska woman has been charged with helping her teenage daughter end her pregnancy at about 24 weeks after investigators uncovered Facebook messages in which the two discuss using medication to induce an abortion and plans to burn the fetus afterwards. Jesus. The prosecutor handling the case said it's the first time he's ever charged anyone for illegally performing an abortion after 20 weeks, a restriction that was passed in 2010. Before the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade in June, states weren't allowed to enforce abortion bans until the point at which a fetus is considered viable outside the womb, roughly at 24 weeks. In one of the Facebook messages, Jessica Burgess, 41, tells her 17-year-old daughter that she has obtained abortion pills for her and gives her instructions on how to take them to end the pregnancy. The daughter, meanwhile, talks about how she can't wait to get the thing out of her body. A detective wrote in court documents, "I will finally be able to wear jeans," she says in one message. Law enforcement authorities obtained this message with a search warrant and detailed some of the court documents. In early June, the mother and daughter were only charged with a single felony for removing or concealing an abandoning a body. What? Holy yikes. This is dystopic as fuck. And 2 misdemeanors, concealing the death of another person. What? The fetus? The fetus is what's being considered the death of another person? Jesus. And false reporting. It wasn't about a month later, after the investigators reviewed private Facebook messages, that they added the felony abortion-related charges against the mother. The daughter, who is now 18, is being charged as an adult at the prosecutor's request. Burgess's attorney didn't immediately respond to a message Tuesday, and the public defender representing the daughter declined to comment. Oh man, yeah, this is about as handmaidey as it gets. Yikes. Unfreaking believable. Burgess's attorney didn't immediately respond to a message on Tuesday, and the public defender declined to comment. When first interviewed, the two told investigators that the teen had unexpectedly given birth to a stillborn baby in the shower in the early morning after. Holy yikes! Like, imagine this scenario. Jesus Christ! Like, the only reason this is even happening is because they're afraid. Like, this scenario would never happen if you provide the tools and support to these folks. Like, why would you need to be afraid of anything? And then be put in this scenario. Like, this should never be a thing. Like, this should never be a story. The things that I'm reading right now should never be a story. This is just wild to me. Unfreaking believable. They said they put a fetus in a bag, placed it in a box in the back of their van, and later drove several miles north of town where they buried the body with the help of a 22-year-old man. The man, who the Associated Press is not identifying because he's only being charged with a misdemeanor, has pled no contest to help bury the fetus on a rural land his parents own north of Norfolk. Yeah, like, I have a feeling that maybe what happened is that, the girl's 17. So these people most likely hooked up. They got pregnant, didn't know what to do, waited too late, and because all these like restrictions are put in place, there's no real good recourse. Clearly they didn't want this. They didn't want this, and they were basically taking their ability to have their ability to choose and have agency over their body is gone. So yeah, no kidding, things like this happen. This is unbelievable to me. He is set to be sentenced later this month. In the court documents, the detective said the fetus showed signs of, quote, thermal wounds, and that the man told investigators that the mother and daughter did burn it. He also wrote that the daughter confirmed in Facebook exchange with her mother that the two would burn the evidence afterwards. Based on medical records, the fetus was more than 23 weeks old. Burgess later admitted to investigators that buying the abortion pills for the purpose of instigating a miscarriage. Yeah, i.e. an abortion. So I don't understand. Like, if these things were just readily available and there was support, this story would never happen. At first, both mother and daughter said that they didn't remember the date when the stillbirth happened, but according to the detective, the daughter later confirmed the date by consulting her Facebook messages. After that, he sought the warrant. Madison County Attorney Joseph Smith told the Lincoln Journal-Star that he's never filed charges like this related to performing an abortion illegally in his 32 years as a county prosecutor. He didn't immediately respond to a message from the AP on Tuesday. The group National Advocates for Pregnant Women, which supports abortion rights, found 13 1,331 arrests or detentions for women for crimes related to pregnancy from 2006 to 2020. Holy yikes. I suspect that number is probably more now, yeah? Or it's going to rise. In addition to its current 20-week abortion ban, Nebraska tried but failed earlier this year to pass a trigger law that would have banned all abortions when the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Wade. A Facebook spokesman declined to talk about the details of this case, but the company has said that officials at the social media giant will always scrutinize every government request received to make sure it's legally valid. Facebook says it will fight back against requests that it thinks are invalid or too broad, but the company has said it gave investigators information about 88% of the 59,996 times. Oh, excuse me. Times when the government requested its data in the second half of last year. Okay. This is going to happen so many more times, and loads of women will end up in jail. Yeah, that's the goal. That's indeed the goal. Comic seeking. The goal is exactly that, because, well, you can't vote if you're a felon, right? Yeah, so that's a plus. You can't vote if you're a felon, and yeah. Stories like this are going to be the new norm, folks. Only some states? Wait, what? Ah, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, some states. That is correct. I'll add the little asterisk. Some states, this is the case. And I have a feeling if you intersect the states that do not allow felons to vote and the states that have or are trying to make it as strict as possible, you'll find a lot of intersection. It makes me angry, and any civilized country will go back to the Stone Age like this. Well, this is completely the product of conservatism at play here. That's really what it is. This is the product of conservatism, plain and simple. A patchwork of state felony disenfranchisement laws varying in severity from state to state prevent approximately 5.85 million Americans with a felony and in several states misdemeanor convictions from voting. Jesus. Confusion about misapplications of these laws de facto disenfranchise countless other Americans. I bet that pregnancy could have been stopped about 10 weeks without these new inhumane laws. Yeah, like, that's the thing. When you don't give proper, like, support, or when you don't give proper, like, if you take away people's bodily autonomy, I mean, this is the end result. The fact that they think abortion is murder is something I don't know if we could ever change their mind on, and these people who have their minds made up on made up and their brain is on lockdown. Yeah, a lot of these people, you won't be able to change their mind. They, for some reason, have bought into this idea that what you're doing to a clump of cells is equivalent to like murdering a person, a full grown person. I mean, that's literally the belief of Ben Shapiro, and he speaks to millions. Some people with felony convictions can vote. All people with felony convictions are permanently disenfranchised. Yikes. There's only 2 states in this entire country where everyone who's a citizen has a right to vote. That's wild. Well, I think the world would be a better place if we had better education. If we had a better wrapping around of our heads of just how important it is to take care of each other, right? Yeah, so I might actually take the L on that one. Um, it is not as harsh as I thought it would be. If you guys want to take a look at the map that Echo Resto Dragon put, there's the map on the chat. I think the wanting and love is a higher bar than education. Maybe, I don't know. I think education is incredibly important. It is paramount to avoid scenarios like this. How about both? Well, there we go. There we go. How about both? Anyways, folks, expect more stories like this. Expect more dystopic nightmare stories like this. Education is effing key, though. Yeah. Education is how you avoid stories like that. Wow. All right, switching gears for a second, folks. The correlation between hate, fear, and bigotry and being uneducated is strong. True. True. That is that is an excellent point, Yellow King. Howdy, howdy. All right, folks. Shifting gears for a second. Trump takes the fifth, refuses to answer questions and probes of his business dealings. Former President Trump did not answer questions from the New York Attorney General's office about his business dealings during deposition on Wednesday, invoking his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. The deposition came as part of an ongoing probe into the former president's businesses launched by Attorney General Letitia James. In a statement, Trump said that he declined to answer the questions on the rights and privileges afforded to every citizen under the U.S. Constitution and attacked James for what he's called a despicable attempt to bring down his company. Yeah, well, this is a funny one. It's a civil case that can still be used against him. Yep. The good stuff keeps coming. The good stuff is on its way, don't worry. James's office has been conducting a civil investigation into the Trump Organization for fraudulent or misleading business practices, including knowingly and providing inaccurate valuations of assets to benefit the company. There have been some speculation that Trump might invoke the Fifth Amendment privilege to avoid discussing his net worth, which critics say he has exaggerated for years. Wow, shocker. An October 2018 report in the New York Times found that Trump had participated in a series of tax schemes related to his father's real estate empire. In 2019, the former Trump lawyer Michael Cohen discussed these business practices during a testimony with the House Oversight Committee. Which, Michael Cohen, I believe, to my recollection, made these statements under oath, right? Have you seen the video of Trump pouring scorn on people who take the fifth? No, but that's pretty funny. In civil cases, the Fifth Amendment does not forbid adverse inferences against parties to civil actions when they refuse to testify in response to probative evidence offered against them. That's hilarious. Because it's a civil case. That's right. This is, in this situation, it's not a criminal case. Trump had previously said that invoking the Fifth Amendment was a sign of guilt. Wait. I think this is what Comic Seeking is talking about. While campaigning for the presidency in 2016, he noted that some staffers for former Secretary of State of Hillary Clinton had used the Fifth Amendment to avoid answering questions from a House committee investigating Benghazi. So there are 5 people taking the Fifth Amendment, Trump said in Council Bluffs, Iowa, like you see on the mob, right? You see the mob takes the Fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? Gee, that's a very good question. Why are you taking the Fifth, Donnie? That is, you know what? You're absolutely right. Why are you taking the Fifth? You can't make this stuff up, folks. You can't make this stuff up. Condemned by his own mouth. Well, as is the case of someone who, constantly lies. It's no surprise that he has 0 principles. What a goon, true. Trump noted his previous remarks in a statement. Yeah, he acknowledges this. I once asked, if you're innocent, why are you taking the fifth? He wrote, now I know the answer to that question. When your family, your company, and all the people in your orbit become the targets um, of unfounded, politically motivated witch hunt, supported by lawyers and prosecutors and the fake news media, you have no choice. I see. Ah, I see. Nice save. He also passed stricter laws for mishandling the federal documents in 2018. You really can't make this up. Yeah, I wonder if that's ever going to come into play with these. I really wonder if, because of this rule that puts stricter punishment for mishandling of federal documents. I wonder if this is what's going to be used. If it ends up being the case. Oh man, like that's something out of like a movie. You know. uh.
Her staffers taking the Fifth Amendment. How about that? And her ringleaders getting immunity is. Now, here's people taking the Fifth Amendment. 4 people plus the guy who illegally did the server. You know, he put in the illegal server. So there are 5 people taking the Fifth Amendment. Like you see on the mob, right? You see the mob takes the Fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment?
That's too funny. That's hilarious. Foot and mouth syndrome, that's right. So now wait, hold on. Did you guys catch this? Wait. Let me rephrase this. So I once asked, if you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? Now I understand the question. Because remember, he said that this was something related to the mob, right? He said that this is what the mob does. Well, when your family and your company become the targets, one could say your operations have been targeted. See now. Now this is a politically motivated witch hunt. So he's basically saying that the people who take the Fifth are usually like the mobsters, right? But he's taking the Fifth to protect his operations from what? This is not the first time Trump has invoked the Fifth Amendment, however. In 1990, he refused to answer 97 questions during a divorce deposition. During a divorce deposition, James told the judge in January that Trump's son Eric invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 500 times in an October 2020 deposition. Yeah, but when he does it, it's okay, because of reasons. The former president's other children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, however, reportedly testified in James' probe earlier this month and did not invoke the Fifth Amendment. Damn. Yeah, Yellow King. I don't know. I half expect the informant on the Mar-a-Lago to be one of his kids. I don't know. Trump's deposition comes 2 days after the FBI agents search his Mar-a-Lago home in Florida. The raid stemmed from an investigation into whether he had removed classified documents from the White House. Trump and his allies have said the FBI search of his home was politically motivated, a notion dismissed by former Justice Department officials. Yeah, like you can't cry about like this whole thing being a politically motivated thing when the dude in charge of the FBI is the same dude Trump appointed, Christopher Wray. Indeed. 2 of its children, Don Jr. and Ivanka, did testify and did not invoke the Fifth Amendment. Interesting. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. Maybe they did say something that prompted this. Who knows? The point is, there was enough, whatever it was, whoever it was enough for a search warrant to be granted. Trump is also under scrutiny during his role in for his role in the violence of January 6th, which is being investigated by the Justice Department and a House committee. Additionally, a Georgia district attorney is investigating his attempts to overturn the 2020 election results in the state which voted for Biden. Oh, yeah, yeah. Now they're trying to crap on the judge who signed the warrant. Yeah, they're trying to like relate him to some like Epstein stuff, which like even if we grant all that, especially like the conspiracy theorists and like people like Tim Pool have been pushing have been just asking questions I've just, about this judge and essentially the implication is that he has something to do with Epstein and therefore something deep state QAnon is essentially is the logic. I mean, it is possible that that's true. That and I think we even found that the guy was a former defense attorney for some of Epstein's employees or something like that. But like, that may be reprehensible and that may be true. But what does it have to do with this now? Trump is now weaponizing his people against the FBI and the judge and anyone else they can target. Well, yeah, that's his MO, right? The shades of Alex Jones. This is shades of Alex Jones crapping on Sandy Hook. Yeah, well, yeah. All right, so this is what we were talking about earlier. If Trump is found to have violated federal law in removing and retaining classified documents without authorization, he could be convicted of a felony punishable by 5 years in prison. And that conviction would be a felony carrying that punishment because of a law signed by President Trump. So if that ends up happening, that's that would be the most ironic of ironic things, right? I mean, we've got like layers of irony. Like we got different, well, not layers, but like we've got different paths to irony, right? We got different paths to irony. Path number 1, it's a civil case, but it would be ironic that, you know, the alleged business mogul, the super smart, awesome business person is about to get caught doing some shady business things, and it was all a charade and a ruse anyways. Irony. 2, the guy that had been screeching from the rooftops that this election was stolen from him and that there was a huge coordinated effort by the Democratic Party and by dead foreign leaders and Smartmatic and Dominion, all this other stuff, that were all somehow magically all coordinated and stole the election from him. It would be absolutely ironic if he went to jail or if he got caught tampering with the results of the election. Which, I mean, the evidence is there. The evidence is there. You've got the very perfect phone call I mean, like, it's all there. And then path to path number 3. He gets a felony charge, possibly 5 years in prison, for a law that he himself put in place. Yes, taking federal presidential documents or confidential documents is federal. So we've got different things going on. Okay, there's a lot of stuff. Cosmic seeking. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. Sometimes it's hard to keep up. That different the kind of trouble, the different kind of troubles that he's in, or possibly in, right? So we've got this the idea of election tampering in multiple states, but Georgia seems to be the one that's taking the lead on this one. We've got shady business tactics or shady business dealings that's being done or handled in the state of New York. And we've got this federal allegation here about touching or improperly touching classified documents and whatnot. Yes, and then we've got the January 6th stuff. So we've got, there's a lot of moving parts to this thing. I suspect one of these will work. I suspect the strongest, like, the strongest one that has the most solid case is the election stuff. Is the election stuff. There's just so much evidence of that. I mean, it's recorded. There's a phone call. There's messages going between him, Giuliani, Eastman, I think. I mean, there's communications that are very well documented, not just in Georgia, but in the other states that he tried to finagle the results. That's probably the most solid case, but who knows? The juicy irony is that a Trump insider gave FBI details of what is being kept and where by Trump, even the safe code. Ha, that's funny. I believe that might be one of the reasonings as to why people think that it is like a family member. Yellow Kings is speculating that it might have... The irony would have been if it's one of the kids, you know? Who knows? It also has a stipulation editing 18 U.S. Code 1924. It originally read, whoever being an officer, employer, contractor, or consultant of the U.S. and by virtue of his office, employment, position, or contract becomes possessed of a document or materials containing classified information of the U.S. knowingly and removes such document materials without authority and with the intent to retain such documents or materials at an unauthorized location shall be fined under this title or imprisoned for not more than 1 year or both. With Trump signing S-139 as the law, that became shall be fined under his title or imprisoned for not more than 5 years or both. And with that, it became a felony. Oh, man. That would be a tremendous meme, okay? That would be a tremendous meme. if out of all the angles, the the thing that takes him down ends up being him touching, which he screeched about, about Hillary Clinton and whatnot. The very thing he screeched about takes him down, and then because of his own doing, ends up spending 5 years in prison as a felon. It would just fit so well. True. That is shooting himself in his own foot. Yeah, he already. It's like a weird. I mean, you can't just make this stuff up. This is like a. I don't want to say comedy, but it's almost comedic in the absurdity of the scenario, right? It's almost comedic. If this guy wasn't so dangerous, and if this guy hasn't caused so much destruction, I would probably be making much more light of it. But I mean, it really shouldn't be that shocking, right? Like, a lifelong con man finally is slow. It's slowly coming. It's slowly catching up to him. So, piggybacking off that, violent rhetoric circulates the pro-Trump internet following the FBI search, including against a judge. Wow. No kidding.
Herschel Walker said he worked.
Hold on, folks. Let me see if I can find this clip. I saw it earlier today in the Majority Report. It's really relevant with this article. Let me see if I can find it. Hang tight, folks.
In Vermont, Bernie-endorsed progressive Becca Balint has easily won her primary for the state's sole House seat. And within yes.
Okay, I can see, like,
Of a logo where
With Ray. It's funny
they just hint at it, but keep going.
They raid Donald Trump. Why does George Soros get away with everything he's doing, funding attorney general's offices? Now you might say, well, Charlie, we must follow the rule of law. I totally agree. It must
Okay,
be
I'm sorry.
lawful.
Pause it again.
Here, which is, you can see why that one would raise.
And I'm going to say this plainly and bluntly. Raids must be met with raids.
Here we go. This is what I'm looking for.
knows if the FBI is planting evidence, which is the first time they've ever talked about such a
Trump, why don't you go raid Planned Parenthood?
Republican influencers like himself and other politicians are taking different tacks. For the most part, though, they've coalesced behind, well, who knows if the FBI is planting evidence, which is the first time they've ever talked about such a concept.
Okay, this may be a dumb question, but isn't Soros dead? I don't know why they think a dead guy can do so much. No, I think he's alive. I think he's very much alive. So far, yep, he looks to be quite alive. Born in 1930.
In their lives, but Charlie Kirk decided to go a different route here, and basically is advocating for political retaliation.
And I'm going to say this plainly and bluntly. Raids must be met with raids. They raid Donald Trump's home. Well, why don't you go raid BLM for burning down $1 billion worth of property in the summer of 2020? They raid Donald Trump. Well, why don't you go raid Planned Parenthood for all of their, let's just say, very revealing crimes that was revealed 5 or 6 years ago?
What? What? On what legal basis? on what legal basis? No, his supporters are going to hear this, and they're going to translate into violence. Like, remember that guy who showed up at that Turning Point USA thing that said, like, when do we get to use the guns? Yeah. And Charlie Kirk was very kind of like nervously trying to not say much, but also trying not to dismiss that outright. Yeah. Yeah, very revealed crimes. Amazing.
On camera.
Pause it. So there he is talking about James O'Keefe, is he not? By the way, completely disproven.
They're revealing crimes that were revealed. The reason Charlie was...
Oh. Yeah, looks like you caught that too. They should have subpoenaed Chucky over here for his role in January 6th. Clearly never learned the lesson. True.
having a tough time characterizing that in a punchier way because they need to be legally careful.
Yeah, because nothing was revealed.
Bullshit.
It was a smear campaign that was proven time and time again to not be true, as is the case with every documentary. Or
anyways, I think that the point was made, right? Like,
that out. And also there's the idea that they are responsible for everything that happened in the wake. You know what happens? You know who I think is responsible for a loss of community trust when cops murder somebody is those cops.
All right, keep going.
Must be warranted,
True.
but you must have the courage to do this. I am no longer going to tolerate Republican attorney generals sitting on their hands while the Democrats commit these crimes. Forget the FBI, okay? The Federal
What
Bureau of
crimes?
Investigation, we got to hold them accountable, dismantle, defund the FBI, put them all in prison. We have 20...
What? Wait. Whoa. Whoa. I didn't see this part. I didn't see this part. So now we want law enforcement accountability. Now we want to defund the FBI. Now we want cops in prison. Now we're ACAB. What? This is a wacky world we live in, folks. This is a wacky world we live in, where not 5 seconds ago, it was the lunatic left that was calling for the defundment of police. The complete dismemberment of the police. What children these people are? Yeah, of course. This is all in defense of their spirit god, their spirit god Almighty Donald Trump. That's really what this is about. This is running defense for their spirit god, Almighty Trump. That's really what it is, and they will do whatever level of Olympic level of whatever Olympic level mental gymnastics necessary to justify or to protect the dear leader, because it's a death cult. That's they're in a cult, okay? Correct. Like take exactly this comment. Exactly. Like take this comment in for a split second. And these are the same folks, exactly correct, Yellow King, who will chant witch hunt against their team, while simultaneously chanting witch hunt as they celebrate hunting down people they call witches. Amazing. Yeah, it's team sports. A cult mentality, 100%. Like I said, they will perform the necessary Olympic level of mental gymnastics required to do this, even up to and including doing things like calling out the radical left and all this other stuff for the defund and the ACAB and all this other stuff, and adopt that if necessary. Who cares? What? Principles? That goes out the window real fast. Consistency? Unnecessary when it comes to this type of ideology. Unnecessary. No consistency required. No critical thinking required. And definitely no principles required. You make them up as you go to justify whatever it is. At the moment. Yeah, I was about to say zero principles. Yeah, none required. Leave them at the door. Alright, so all that to preface this. Violent rhetoric circulates on the pro-Trump internet following the FBI search, including against a judge. Lock and load! When do we get to use the guns? Was one of the top comments on an online forum dedicated to former President Trump on Monday night. Soon after it emerged, his Mar-a-Lago resort had been searched by the FBI. Other posts were more explicit. I'm just gonna say it, Attorney Merrick Garland needs to be assassinated. When do we get to use the guns? As simple as that. Another user posted, "Kill all feds. When do we get to use the guns?" Users also encouraged to post the address of the magistrate judge they believed signed on the search warrant. "I see a rope around his neck." On the same forum, researchers previously found talk of violence and discussion on how to attack police. On the same forum is what? I assume this is like 4chan? Because I don't know. Kiwi Farms, 4chan, that's the only place I would think you would find this kind of garbage. On the same forum, researchers previously found talk of violence and discussion on how to attack police officers in the weeks leading up to the January 6th attack or insurrection. It's so funny because these people are the same people, like I said, will simultaneously say back the blue and like the radical left and whatever. They do not like police and they hate police and all that. And here they are organizing on how to attack police. Okay. Because when it comes to stop the steal and save the, Mr. President or whatnot, principles are left at the door. One reply to the top-rated lock and load post came from an account with the username Banana Guard. Jesus. 62 asked, "Are we not in a cold civil war at this point?" No. By combing through Banana Guard's posts, Advanced Democracy, a nonpartisan nonprofit organization that conducts public interest investigations, identified Tyler Wesh Sleeker as the running of the account. Sleeker was charged by the Justice Department in connection with the January 6th insurrection. Sleeker's in-laws tipped the FBI about his presence at the Capitol, according to court filings, making him one of the many January 6 rioters who were turned in by family members. He was initially charged with 4 nonviolent misdemeanors and pleaded guilty in June to 1 count entering a restricted building. His sentencing is scheduled for November. NBC News was, I don't understand. This guy has a proclivity for violence. Like, okay, anyways. Clearly this guy is basically on the side of domestic terrorists. It can be difficult to distinguish between empty and serious threats of violence online, but it cannot be ignored. Said Daniel Jones, a former U.S. Senate investigator who led the investigation into the CIA's use of torture and now runs Advanced Democracy, a nonpartisan nonprofit organization that conducts public interest investigations. "We are seeing conspiratorial rhetoric from elected officials, political leaders, and political entertainers that is fueling calls for real-world violence." Come on. Let's be a little bit more honest here about which elected officials, which political leaders, on which political ideology, which political entertainers. We just saw a clip of Charlie Kirk essentially saying it's okay to raid whatever because they raid Donald Trump, then we can do that too. And I made several references to that clip, again, from Charlie Kirk, at his Turning Point event, where this dude, unironically, like without skipping a beat, asking when do we use the guns. I mean, these are very specific people. It's the right. Yeah, this is the level that we're operating in, I Like Pie. They want civil war, but stick to their echo chambers and seriously overestimate their numbers. Their own family is turning them in. Not to say every one of them shouldn't be taken seriously, and mouthpieces like Charlie Kirk. Yep. 100%. We're seeing conspiratorial rhetoric from elected officials, Republicans, political leaders, Republicans, and political entertainers, usually right-wing, that are fueling calls for real-world violence. The conspiratorial and divisive rhetoric from elected officials, Republicans, and others who should know better has continued to undermine our institutions and democracy at an alarming rate. A congressional security official told CNN shortly after news of the search warrant broke on Monday night, U.S. Capitol Police began discussions about monitoring and planning for potential violent rhetoric. Of particular concern is the possibility of violence could be directed at members of Congress or other federal law enforcement. Capitol Police declined to comment on security plans. One post CNN found called for violence against FBI agents. The FBI declined to comment on the post or wider security concerns due to violent rhetoric. After the January 6th insurrection, alternative social media platforms became more popular among Trump supporters after companies like Facebook and Twitter banned Trump and other prominent figures who spread election conspiracy theories. Those platforms, like Trump's own Truth Social, tout themselves as bastions of free speech with looser rules and moderation, but that can result in proliferation of violent rhetoric. CNN reported in June just how threats of members of the House January 6th House Select Committee circulated on those platforms. But talks of violence isn't exclusive to more fringe platforms. There was a surge in tweets on Monday mentioning civil war, and at some point more than a tweet a second. While some mentions of civil war came from Trump critics expressing fear what his supporters might do, one researcher posted multiple screenshots of Twitter accounts outright calling for civil war. Yeah, it's right. It's not some political leaders. It's not some political entertainers. It's not some elected officials. These folks have names. The biography of federal magistrate judge in Florida, along with their contact information and office, were removed from the court's website amid the right-wing backlash to the FBI search. Thank you. The right-wing backlash. The magistrate judge has been identified by some media outlets as the judge who approved the FBI warrant. CNN has not independently confirmed that this is the judge in question and is not naming him at this time. Records reviewed by CNN show the webpage and the judge's information was removed from the official site before for the U.S. District Court of Southern District of Florida sometime between... Oh, I think this is the same guy that we were talking about yesterday. So, at this point in time, we don't even know. If that was the guy at all, actually. So, yeah, as of this time, we actually don't know. If I'm reading this correctly. Reached for comment on Tuesday. Officials from the court didn't say why the judge's page was removed. CNN requested comment from the FBI, the Palm Beach Garden Police Department, and U.S. Marshal Service. On Tuesday, pro-Trump social media sites, there were calls for publication of the judge's home, doxing, which the right accuses the left of doing. Decker has seen a massive surge in threats targeting this judge since Monday. Yep. Yeah, the cult is an understatement. This is the level that these people will go to defend the dear leader. Representative Scott Perry says his cell phone was seized by the FBI. South Central Pennsylvania Congressman says the FBI has seized his cell phone on Tuesday. Perry said in a statement he was approached by FBI agents who handed him a search warrant and asked for the phone. This morning while traveling with my family, 3 FBI agents visited me and seized my cell phone. They made no attempt to contact my lawyer, who would have made arrangements for them to have my phone if that was their wish. I don't think that's how that works, right? I don't know. Though not surprised that the FBI under direction of Merrick Garland would seize the phone of a sitting member of Congress. My phone contains info about my legislative and political activities and the personal discussions with my wife, family, constituents, and friends. None of this is the government's business. If like, y'all are in cahoots with each other, there must have been a reason that a warrant was approved. There must be a reason why they obtained that warrant. The confiscation came the day after the FBI searched former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida. The plot thickens, folks. The plot thickens. All right, we've got one more. Democrats betting on progressives to keep control of the Senate. This is the biggest meme of the century. All right. Anybody tell me what the problem with this statement is? Anybody tell me what the problem of this headline is? In two of the most pivotal Senate races in the country, Democrats are placing their bets on progressives who had voiced their support for Medicare for All, allied with Bernie Sanders, and vowed to end the filibuster. In Wisconsin, Lieutenant Mandela Barnes had gained a clear path to the nomination on Tuesday after his top Democratic rivals dropped out and endorsed him in the final weeks of the race. In Pennsylvania, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman won the primary in a rout in May. The rise of Barnes and Fetterman is an opportunity for the left wing of the party, which has often struggled to flip swing seats, and instead found success in ousting Democratic incumbents in deep blue areas. Both men have said they would be the 51st vote to pass ambitious liberal legislation that has been stymied by centrist conservatives like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Both say they support eliminating the filibuster and passing a national law to make abortion legal. So either, this is a great meme that all of a sudden we're doing a 180 where either the party's changing or this article is woefully taking the exact opposite of what's really happening here. It could just be that this might be a little bit out there, but it could just be that maybe progressive platforms are more popular. Because if you watch like the Democratic primaries, most of it consists of, oh, well, they're just too radical. So I'm not convinced. They're just too radical. Why would you want to elect, or why would you want to send radicals to fight the Republicans? And then we have headlines like this. When they're victorious, it would have a huge impact for many reasons, said Maurice Mitchell, national director of the Progressive Working Families Party. Every week, it becomes more and more plausible that the Democrats maintain governing majorities in both houses and might even expand that governing majority in the Senate. That means we'll get another bite at the apple of governing, and it means we will no longer be the subject of the Sinema or Manchin veto. We'll see. The Democrats truly are a broad church. They'll fund campaigns for people on the left, they'll fund campaigns for people in the center, and they'll even fund people on the extreme right who think capital rights were okay. True. Oh, man. Amazing. Meanwhile, Republicans meanwhile see the extension of Barnes and Fetterman as an opening to pick off independent and suburban voters. During the primaries, many GOP operatives thought they were likely to be less formidable general election candidates than their moderate opponents. I don't know about that. Don't think so. And like, the framing here is off. Like, they're painting this guy as like against their more moderate opponents. The implication being that these guys are like some kind of radicals, when that's not really the case. Democrats nominated the most liberal candidates they could find in states that are struggling because of Joe Biden and the Democrats' agenda that result in record gas prices. What? Aren't gas prices going down? So, does Biden control the gas prices or does he not? Skyrocketing inflation. There's multiple explanations, and none of them are... If anybody tells you that the skyrocketing inflation is the direct result of Joe Biden and the Democrats, they're lying to you. Crime raging. That's... Okay. Source on how that's being the problem of the... or how that's being the result of Democrats. A border crisis source? What border crisis exactly? We look forward to watching Mandela Barnes defend his embracing of defunding law enforcement. Oh, you can't use that anymore, seeing as you are comfortable with saying defund the FBI, defund essentially law enforcement. You gotta pick a lane. So that no longer works. The whole defund the police thing doesn't work. And John Fetterman defend his support for banning fracking. Yes, that's a good thing. Like, that is objectively a good thing. I don't know. Pennsylvania is widely considered to be the best chance for Democrats to flip a seat in the evenly divided Senate, while Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin, Barnes' opponent, is viewed as the most vulnerable Republican incumbent in the chamber. Nice. Damn. An opportunity to kick out Ron Johnson. Amazing. The fact that Dems are rallying behind Barnes and Fetterman represents a departure from past election cycle when they typically select centrist candidates to be their standard bearers in the battleground Senate races. That has worried some moderates in the Democratic Party who believe the candidates have baggage that could alienate swing voters. What does that even mean? What baggage? When Barnes touted Sanders' endorsement last month, Matt Bennett, a co-founder of the center-left group The Third Way, you mean center-right, tweeted, "Why would you do this? Because that's what the people want? Because it's more popular?" I don't get it. In an interview, these people want to lose? Holy yikes. In an interview, this is disastrous. Like, the way the Democrats think is just, or at least the Democratic leadership thinks, is just unfreaking believably frustrating. Unbelievably frustrating. And like I said last Sunday, I should say, clearly there's a disconnect between the Democratic Party platform constituents, clearly. In an interview, Bennett said that Barnes is a very appealing candidate in many, many ways, both for both wings of the party. He's dynamic, smart, and young, and he could be great, but we were nervous, and we are nervous at some of the things he's done and said are going to make it tough to win in a swing state like Wisconsin. At the beginning of the year, Bennett said that he was also concerned that Fetterman's progressive bona fides would hurt him. No. But in recent months, he has been impressed as Fetterman has outpolled and outraised his Republican opponent, celebrity and snake oil salesman Dr. Oz. Fetterman offers a pretty good roadmap for Barnes, which is after he wrapped up the nomination, he has made very clear that he's his own guy. He's a different kind of Democrat. Nice. Both Barnes and Fetterman are extraordinary candidates who are showing that you can be for progressive policies like Medicare for All and win in battleground states. Yeah, no shit. No shit. Anyways, we'll see how these races pan out. And the generals. I mean, Fetterman and Barnes aren't perfect, but they're definitely moving in the right direction. And the fact that the Democratic, what I guess the colloquial term, the old guard, the status quo, hasn't immediately squashed them. I don't know. Maybe. I just think that this is hilarious. Democrats are betting on progressives. We'll see how they do in the general election. All right, folks. Unfortunately, I gotta get going. I do have a family thing to do. So this stream was going to be a little bit short. I do apologize, but we'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll make sure to try to start on time and have everything good. If you guys enjoyed the content, make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on the YouTubes. Join the Discord to keep up with the channel. Make sure that you spread the word far and wide that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics, Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So come on in, bring a friend. As always, folks, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya. Thank you, Yellow King. I appreciate that. Thank you, James Napper for stopping by. I Like Pie, Echo Resto Dragon, Cosmic Seeking. I got everybody. Appreciate that. See ya. Tomorrow we got some great content, okay? Stay tuned. All right, folks, we're heading out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See ya.